Welcome to Shine Online with Ellie Swift. I'm your host, marketing and mindset coach Ellie Swift, here to help you connect with your clients, create life-changing results in your online business, and shine neon bright online. I built a multi-six-figure business in under 2 years and, more importantly, have supported my clients to get amazing results. My clients have generated 5- and 6-figure launches, tripled their income, and completely transformed their lives using my signature framework, the Swift Marketing Method. In this podcast, I take you a layer deeper into my business, my life, and my mind. If you're an ambitious entrepreneur, you're in the right place. Let's get started. Hello. Welcome to Shine Online with Ellie Swift. I'm so freaking happy you are here. I'm so excited to be recording this episode today. And the main reason for that is that I am going to continue to bring people back to this episode over and over and over again. Because if there was ever an episode that was the secret behind how I've built my business, then this is that. And I am totally giggling when I say that word secret, because we're all looking for the secret, right? And really there isn't one, but this is the framework that I've used to build my business, to build the businesses of my clients. So I'm going to share exactly what this framework is, why it's so important, and how you can use this exact framework and make it work for you. My aim is that you're going to be able to take what I'm sharing today in this framework to really use it to identify what it is that your business needs from you most next, to get really clear on what the next step might be that you need to take on the journey that is biz life, and that this is something that you can come back to in any given moment that you might feel stuck or lost or like you don't know where to next, because this is something that is relevant for you, whether you are scaling your business, whether you're a multi-six-figure business owner, or whether you're at the start of your journey right now. You can take this and use it no matter where you're at. So the reason I'm sharing this is because I know that this framework works. I've seen it with all sorts of businesses, from coaches to creatives to consultants. And of course, I've used it in my own business. So it's something that you can apply to yours. And this framework is called the Swift Marketing Method, which is, of course, my signature program, my signature framework, knowing that it's called the Swift Marketing Method. Of course, it is my signature. Otherwise, it would not have my name on it. And so I'm going to share a little bit of background, first of all, about how I came up with this. And then we're going to get into all of the good stuff about how you can use it and apply it to your own business. So before I worked in my business, I worked in marketing for about 10 years. I worked for all sorts of businesses, from, financial services companies to travel, publicly listed companies, small private startups, you name it. My last role, in fact, was head of marketing strategy for a private communications business here in Perth. And I absolutely loved that role, because what I'd witnessed through my career was that when it comes to building your business, both marketing, communications, and I'm using those two words interchangeably here, marketing and communications, and strategy as the secondary component, really are the two most important business factors. And I'm going to talk more about that in a moment. So when I started my business, I brought those skills straight across into my own business, right? I took them out of corporate, took them out of everything that I'd learned in my corporate career and brought them on over into my own business. But then I started working with my clients, and I realized pretty quickly that there was something that was missing, because when I was working with my clients, I wasn't working with them as the marketing manager or one person within an agency or one person within a bigger company. I was working with them as someone who was the CEO, the personal brand, and also the service provider. And so what I realized was that there was absolutely no way that it was going to be possible for me to be able to serve at my highest potential, to be able to show up on social media, to be able to put myself out there, to be able to price myself at pricing that I deserved to price myself at if I didn't also do the mindset work. And so that is a really important component of the Swift marketing method. And this is exactly how this framework came to be, is that I brought together strategy, marketing, and then incorporated mindset to create this method that's housed around those three pillars. Because really, when you combine these three things, it helps you to get so clear on what you need to do next. You can work out exactly what your specific quote unquote business problem is next. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about that as we continue on today. The first thing I want to do though is I really want to break down here why all three are really important for your business in isolation, because it's going to help you start to get clear on maybe what it is that you're utilizing effectively right now. You might start to witness where perhaps you can see how you could tap into one or more of these areas in more detail. And so let's start with strategy first of all. Now, strategy is really the roadmap, the plan in your business, right? It's the way in which you can really clearly see what's ahead of you. So when someone says, let's create a strategy for this, it means that you're putting all of the pieces of the puzzle together in a really cohesive way so that everything makes sense and so that everything you're doing has a purpose. I'm a really big fan of making things easeful in business. I'm a really big fan of smashing really big goals without burning out and making things feel really fucking fun for you. And you can't do that if you don't have a strategy, right? And some signs that you may not have a strategy that's working fully for you right now is potentially if you feel like you're throwing things at the wall, like you are trying out lots of different social media platforms, or you're experiencing shiny object syndrome each and every time you get served a new Instagram ad that tells you that Pinterest is the new thing, and then no, you need to focus on your SEO, or no, I really, really need to go over here and like LinkedIn videos where it's at right now. Like if you find your head swirling with all of those things, then that might be a sign that you don't currently have a strategy in place, which is totally okay because it's something that you can move through. And we'll talk through how to do that in just a moment. So that is the importance of strategy first and foremost. And I mentioned this just before, but just to reiterate, because it's so important, strategy's relevant for you wherever you're at in your business. It's just as important to you on day one of your business as it is on I was about to try and do mental maths in my head and then realized that I'm terrible at that. So I'm going to instead say year 5 of your business, right? It's just as important no matter where you're at in your business, and it's going to ebb and flow and change. And what's really important as the CEO, as the boss, as the visionary of your business is to be able to ebb and flow with it and always be asking yourself, what is my strategy right now? What is my strategy in my business? What are we working towards? What does that look like? So the second component is mindset, right? So we need to tap into our mindset to take us to the destination that we want to go to allow ourselves to move through every day in the most abundant, easeful, playful, freaking amazing way possible. And when I say mindset, I'm really talking about everything that goes on between our ears, the stories that we tell ourselves about how we can run our business, what's possible for us, what success looks like for us, what we believe we can achieve. So to give you an example, let's say that I am a fitness coach, right? Say I'm a fitness coach and I have never worked in business before being a fitness coach. Perhaps I have a story that I don't know how to run a successful business because I've never had one before, or that I don't know how to put myself out there because I've never marketed anything, let alone marketing myself, or that I'm really scared about what people will say because speaking my truth might mean alienating some of the people that I love in my life. All of those things are examples of mindset stuff, mindset blocks, mindset challenges, whatever you want to call it, that come up when we're building our business. And fun fact, it's usually the mindset stuff that we have at the start of our business that weaves its way back into our life or into our brain as every single time we up level. So to give you an example, for me, I very much have a mindset story that things have to be hard for me. And I shouldn't say I still have that because it's something that I've really moved through. And my life and my business now looks incredibly easeful and playful and fun and doesn't feel like a grind in any way. But every time I up level, or every time I've up leveled so far in my business, I've witnessed how that story has come up again for me. Like, girl, you got to work harder. You have to work harder if you want to be able to generate this success. That story loves to weave its way into my mind, and I'm so aware of it because I do mindset work every single day. And so I know how it is that I can process that and come back to my truth, which is that is just a completely BS story, not something that serves me in any way, and not something that I'm carrying as I continue to up level, right? So mindset, the second factor or pillar in the Swift marketing method. And then the third is, of course, marketing. So when I say marketing, I'm talking sales, visibility, content, communication, essentially all of the things that you do in your business that allow you to connect to your ideal client. I mean, marketing is the action of connecting with your people. And to be honest, smart marketing is mostly about knowing your customer really well and being able to connect with them and meet them where they're at. It's about identifying their pain points and being the solution or creating the solution that they need most. And when it comes to marketing, it's really easy to hide. It's really easy to spend hours creating content but not putting yourself out there, or show up online but not ask for the sale, or ask for the sale but not follow up. Marketing is essential in building a business, and putting yourself out there is essential. And that is why it is, of course, the third pillar in the trio that is the Swift marketing mindset. Swift marketing method. My goodness. Okay, so to those of you that know my business, I have done the smart thing, but also the tongue twister thing of I have so many products in my business that have similar names. So we have the Swift marketing method, and then my mastermind, my signature mastermind, is the Swift marketing mastermind. And I also have the Swift mindset method, which is where it's my program where we go really deep on mindset specifically. And so that's a wonderful thing. But I get a little tongue-tied sometimes. So you'll just have to bear with me as I do that. Now, back to the Swift marketing method. When you use all of them together, that's when you create incredible success, right? Like, I've learned that the three are intrinsically linked and that each one requires the other to work. And at this point, if you're telling yourself that you aren't good at one of these, for example, that you don't fully yet understand strategy or you don't know anything about marketing, just sending you a loving permission slip that This is why we hire coaches. Like, this is why we hire support people. So the best business owners don't know all of these things. They weren't born with all of this information. They didn't study this for years and years before they started a business. That is total BS. You have the opportunity to learn and implement all of these things. And so if you don't know them right now, this is why you hire a coach. This is why you hire support. This is why you keep learning in your business. So when you utilize this method, what it does is that it simplifies things, because it makes it a million times easier to know the what's next in your business. It helps you to know what it is that you need to work on next. And I'm going to take you through an exercise to help you do just that in just a moment. So, for example, say that you are trying to get clients right now. You're trying to win clients and you are doing all the marketing, right? Perhaps the reason you aren't getting clients is because you aren't laser focused on one strategy, which, for the record, is what I recommend. Or if you're being really strategic, so you have a strategy and you're also utilizing marketing. You've got your marketing strategy in addition to your overarching business strategy, but you can't seem to scale to 6 figures. Perhaps there's a mindset block around money that needs to shift. Perhaps there's a resistance to earning 6 figures that you may need to move through. So let's talk about how we can make this work for you right now. So essentially, I'm going to give you a couple of questions to ask yourself so that you can determine exactly where that block or what that next step is for you in your business. It's a really great way of uncovering blind spots and really coaching yourself. So the first question to ask yourself, and if you don't have a pen and paper at this point, I would write it down or come back to this part of the episode if you're driving. I think we're about 17 or 18 minutes roughly into the episode. So come on back to this at some stage when you've got a pen or paper in front of you. The first question to ask is, what's my one strategy that I'm committed to in my business to take my business to the next level? What's the one strategy that I'm committed to in my business to take it to the next level? So to give you some examples of this, it might be focusing on driving people to your one-to-one. Might be focused on driving people to your one-to-one program. Or it might be creating and launching a group coaching program, both of which have been my strategies at one point or another in my business. One strategy, getting clear on what that one strategy is for you. The next question number 2 is, what's the mindset I need to adopt to make this happen? What's the mindset I need to adopt to make this happen? For example, it might be, I'm a fully booked business owner, or I'm worthy of wild success in my business, or money is in safe hands with me. There might be multiple here. And this is a really great way to see what feels true and possible for you, or where you might need to do a little bit of work. So if I say any of those things and you feel like a little bit off in your body, or you feel a little bit of ickiness around that, that might be a sign that there's an opportunity to move through some stories so that you can really take on the mindset that you need to take yourself to that next level, to that next stage in your business. And then the third question is, what does my marketing look like? So, do you have a funnel set up that takes people into a Facebook group and that's where your potential clients come from? Do you run Facebook ads to continue to bring in newer community members? Do you plan to launch a masterclass? What does your marketing look like? And here's the thing, because when we talk about marketing, I know that it can bring up the feels of, but I don't know. And you might not know the answer to all of these. That is totally okay. What we've just done is we've worked out that you are in a really freaking great position because you've worked out the what's next of your business. As in, you now know what your business problem is, right? this process and this exercise is the best exercise to do at any stage of business because you can quickly see what it is that you need to determine to take your business to the next level next. So often I see people focused on solving the wrong problems in their business. So as an example, someone might come to me and say, I just don't have my strategy right. I don't have my strategy right. And that's why I'm not winning clients. I don't know what my strategy is. But then when we ask these questions, we actually determine that it is mindset that we need to work on. So you can see how by asking yourself these questions, you can get really clear on what is the problem for me right now. What is that next step I need to take in my business to get immense clarity on where to go next, how to solve that problem, and how to then move through to my next goal, right? So in other words, you know where to focus. You know what you need to do next to move the needle forward. So I want you to imagine that each of these is like a 3-part scale. You know those old kitchen scales that have like the 3 parts on them? I've never used one because let's face it, I'm not an amazing cook. I lie. My family would say that I am a good cook, but I just don't do it so much in my household. It's something that Che, my fiance, definitely does much more than I do. But back to that 3-part scale. So the aim is to keep the scales as balanced as possible. Not level, because they never will be, and we're not aiming for perfection here. We never are. But as balanced as possible, right? We don't want one of them to completely tip over. So it's like, do I need more mindset work, a better strategy, or more focus on marketing right now? And within each of these, what is it that I need most? So within each of those 3 buckets on the scale, what is it that I need most? What is it that I need to put into each of those 3 buckets to be able to move my business forward? Now, I'm going to share some examples of how this has played out for me in my own business and the questions that I've asked myself and the conclusions that I've arrived at that have really helped me at different stages. So the first example is when I launched my first program, Shine on Social Without Selling Your Soul, which at the time of this coming out is actually about to be launched or is currently launched for the 3rd time. But when I first launched that program, I knew the strategy and I had the marketing plan because I was working with a coach at the time and we put all of that together. But I kept putting the launch off. And the reason that I identified why I kept putting it off was because I really needed to work on my mindset. I was so scared of it not working, of what that would mean if it didn't work, of what people would say about me. You know, how could I launch a group program and it flop? Like, I was a marketing coach. It just had to go well, and I'd put all this pressure on myself. And so I was quickly able to identify that I had a whole lot of mindset work that I really needed to move through and uncover for me to be able to go ahead and launch Shine on Social Without Selling Your Soul, which I did and was able to process, and then went on to launch that program. Another example, when I first started my business, I was exhausted all the time. I had lots of clients and I was serving them really well, but why was I always so busy and so tired, right? Another one I see so often with clients. And I was able to work out that it was because, you know, my strategy, if I looked at my strategy, I was operating a 1-to-1 model, which meant that I was trading time for money, which was wonderful and great and worked for me at the time. But I was not pricing myself high enough, and I had these big goals around building a 6-figure business, but I wasn't pricing myself high enough to be able to do that. It meant that I was taking on more and more and more clients, which meant that I was always tired because I was quite simply always running client sessions. So strategy was then tweaked and I was able to rectify that situation. I was able to put my prices up and I was able to then recognize that that was the way in which I could get more sleep and have a life again. So most recently, to give you another example, something that's really recent is with this podcast, I put it off for a little while. I kept kind of putting it on the back burner in the business. And so I asked myself why. I knew the marketing, I knew how I'd launched it. I've supported other clients to launch podcasts. I knew that I didn't have any mindset issues around it. I knew that it was going to be an amazing next step, and I didn't feel any resistance to it in my body. But I realized that the reason it wasn't working was because I actually didn't know my strategy. Like, I needed to learn more about, well, what does having a podcast mean to me in my business? Like, what do I want it to be? What do I want the episodes to look like? And so when I recognized that it was the strategy piece, I could isolate that problem and get to work. I hope those examples are really useful. I'll keep using personal examples always with everything that I share in the business, because I know that sharing these examples, allows you to see like all the ways in which this can play out for all of us, right? In so many different ways. I am not immune to any mindset challenges, strategy challenges, marketing challenges, and I continue to ask myself these questions over and over again. I also just really want to reiterate that this doesn't only work if you know marketing or you understand strategy. Most of my clients don't. And to be completely honest with you, I really thought that marketing would help me massively when I started my business. I was like, I've worked in marketing for the last decade. This is going to be the thing that really allows me to get ahead. But I've actually had to unlearn so many things about marketing. I've had to unlearn, so many corporate ways of working and bullshit stories and limiting beliefs about how business was supposed to look so that I could scale it my way. And so I'd really encourage you to keep asking these big questions, because when you ask bigger questions, you get better answers. So keep asking yourself these big questions. Now, to finish up here, I just want to share a little bit about where people can go wrong with building online business and why this framework is really helpful. So, cookie cutter formulas and watching what other people are doing, witnessing mentors building amazing businesses and seeing their formulas and believing that you can emulate them in the exact same way that the women that you follow online have is something that I really wouldn't recommend doing, because the thing is, we are all so different in business. We all have different strengths. We all have different ways of being. We all have different lives. We all have different values. And so continue to look up to people online and keep doing so from a place of curiosity and being inquisitive. But I would really encourage you to not aim to replicate someone else's model, but rather continue to ask yourself these big questions, these powerful questions, to learn exactly what business can look like for you. So this framework's been applied to so many different businesses and different models with the exact, success outcome. And the way that I teach and work with my clients is that we determine exactly what great business looks like for them, successful business looks like for them first and foremost. I don't believe in teaching cookie cutter formulas. I don't believe in teaching one size all strategies or client attraction strategies or anything else. And so I would really encourage you to ask yourself these questions rather than aiming to emulate the models of the people that you follow online. Another thing that I witness that's really easy for us to do is to not get help where we need it. So this exercise is going to help you get crystal clear on what you need next by asking yourself those 3 questions. So know that success is identifying the problem, and there's nothing wrong with that. In fact, we dance around it so often, and instead by honing in on the problem, we're able to make the change. For example, we might resist mindset work so much that we try and do all the things in strategy when we perhaps just really need to turn the lens inwards and really ask ourselves what stories we're telling ourselves at that time. Or we might go all in on creating the perfect website when we actually need to spend more time selling and connecting with our people. So allow yourself to really zero in on what it is that you truly need most. No judgment, all kindness, right? So I really hope that this has supported you to get clear on the next step you need to take to move forward in your business. Come back to this method, this framework anytime. The Swift marketing method, which allows you to look at strategy, mindset, and marketing, and which of the three you need to hone in on more or most to be able to take you where you want to go next in your business. Thank you so much for joining me today. I have absolutely loved having you here listening to this episode. If you have loved this episode and you have found this framework incredibly helpful, then I would love so much if you could jump on over to iTunes and give me a 5-star review. The aim for me is to really be able to get this podcast into the hands of as many people as possible so that we can support them to create intentional, abundant businesses and ultimately create incredible soul-led lives. So that would mean the absolute world to me. And the final thing that I really want to just let you know is that we currently have the doors open to my signature program, Shine on Social Without Selling Your Soul. They're open for a limited time only. This is a 6-week program that will support you to shine as you, become visible online, and win clients through social media. So much of what I've talked about today in relation to marketing especially will be included in this program, Shine on Social Without Selling Your Soul. So jump on over to ellieswift.com/Shine on Social 2020 to find out more. I'd really encourage you to do it now because we are not going to have the doors open for much longer. If you are listening to this at the time of this episode, they're open right now. Otherwise, you'll be able to jump on the wait list for next time. This is a program that we launch once a year, and we have had incredible humans come through and achieve epic results. So I would love to have you with us. Have the most incredible day. Till next time, I'll speak to you soon.